products for internet marketers. Today's guest is Shane Mallah of Thrive Themes. Shane, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Howard.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy launch day, which we'll talk about in just a moment. I know how hectic that can be and usually is, so I do appreciate you being here.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Well, I have questions. Some of the viewers have asked me questions about your new product, Thrive Leads. So
hmm
I thought I would just jump right in and ask you first, before we talk about Thrive Leads, if you could give us just a little background on your company and maybe some of your flagship products.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So Thrive Themes is officially about a year old now, and we set out. Really, the idea was to create a series of products that all have in common a conversion focus. So something I noticed. And just to be clear, like myself, like a WordPress user. I have been for a long time. I love using WordPress. And before I created my own stuff, I was a bit of a theme and plugin junkie. I bought a lot of themes. I still do, just to see what our competition is up to. But I bought a lot of themes, a lot of plugins, and so on. And one thing I noticed is that quite a lot of the stuff that's available has a design focus, really, right? You can get, especially with themes, you can get all kinds of themes that look very nice. But then if I looked at the kind of website that I actually had to build for my own business, which is usually just about selling products directly, I couldn't really find anything that suited that very well. So I saw the focus, and what I wanted was a conversion focus, right? What matters in my business is I need to convert visitors into leads or into customers or into members. And I couldn't really find anything that was optimized for that. And out of that grew this idea that let's do a company that specializes in building WordPress products that have a conversion focus rather than a design focus. So that's the basic idea. And yeah, so we started out with what we call Thrive Content Builder, which is a visual editor for WordPress. But the same idea, right? The point isn't that you can, it's not just an editor. I mean, on the one hand, it's a lot faster to work with a visual editor. You're editing your website as you see it. But what's also important is that the kind of elements that we put in Thrive Content Builder are elements that make sense from a conversion perspective. So we have things, you can easily create like buttons and calls to action and pricing tables and testimonials and things like that that matter on marketing websites. And so, yeah, we have that. We have a landing pages product where you can just like publish pre-designed landing pages on your WordPress site. We have a series of themes, and now we have Thrive Leads, which is all about list building.
Okay, great. Thank you for that little bit of history. And right now, you do have the new software, Thrive Leads. How does that actually fit in? You mentioned Thrive Content Builder, and I use it, and I'll admit I don't use it to its full potential. I haven't explored that deeply into it. I got it to do what I wanted it to do, and I'm happy, and I need to do more, and I know. But for folks like me who don't know everything that the Content Builder will do, but they have it, why do they want to consider the Thrive Leads in addition to the Content Builder?
Yeah, so in Thrive Content Builder, we have some lead generation elements because, well, again, that's the conversion focus, right? We deemed that to be important from the beginning. But what you can basically do in Thrive Content Builder is you can add an opt-in form to your page, or you can create a simple two-step opt-in. And you can do that like, inside your content on your page, you can do that, that's fine. The idea with Thrive Leads is that you have a system that does two things very well. It creates various lead generation elements. So it's not just, in content forms. You can have pop-up lightboxes, you can have slide-in forms, you can have ribbons, you can have widgets, and so on. And you can automatically determine where which forms should be shown across your entire website. And this is especially interesting for people who have existing websites that already has existing content, because it means you don't have to go back through all of your pages and add stuff manually. You can simply create a form and say, okay, in every post with this category, I want to show this form after 10 seconds or something like that, right? So you can automate that. The thing that we wanted to do with Thrive Leads, the idea behind Thrive Leads is that we wanted to take the idea of a list building plugin for WordPress and take it to the next generation. Because what we already have, we have like a current generation of list building plugins that just give you various ways to add opt-in forms to your website. And that's not really anything special anymore. And so we were thinking about, how do we take this, what's the next level? What's the next step beyond that? And the next step beyond that is to build a plugin that isn't just about adding lead generation elements to your site, it's about doing it more effectively. So the real emphasis in Thrive Leads is actually on testing and optimization. So we've made it so that you can very easily, you can create a form, and display it in some way on your site wherever you want, and then you can create multiple variations of that form, maybe test different headlines, test different colors, different layouts, whatever you want, and then have a test automatically run and determine which one leads to the highest conversion rate. And so that's very, very important. And the other thing is that we have very detailed targeting options. And the trick there is, what we saw in our own testing and what we saw some of the smartest marketers do is that they have, the way they increase their conversions, the way they grow their list faster is by making more specific offers to segments of their audience. So that instead of showing just one offer to everyone who comes to your site, you show specific offers that are matched to the content or the category or whatever that they're looking at. And this is actually one of the most powerful ways to increase your conversion rates, is just to make a more relevant offer, more relevant to the mindset or the interests of the current customer or the current prospect coming to your site. And so those are the two main things that we kind of wanted to technologize, right? We know that the best marketers out there do a lot of testing and do a lot of this segmentation, and that's what we built into this plugin. And it goes very, very far beyond the basic lead generation that we have in Content Builder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And for those viewers who have Hybrid Connect, I've heard you talk about Hybrid Connect before. Where does Hybrid Connect stop, and is that product going away? Will it continue to be supported, or what's the relationship with Thrive Leads?
Right. So Hybrid Connect was our previous list building product, and it's no longer available. So you can't buy it anymore. But existing customers still, we still offer support. But yeah, the difference is kind of mostly what I just mentioned before. Hybrid Generation opt-in plugin, it did that very well. Mm-hmm. It had some basic testing in there as well. But apart from that, it was really just about giving you the tools to display opt-in forms on your site. And yeah, at the time, that was like the best we could do, and it was good for its time. But now with Thrive Leads, it just goes a step beyond that, and it's just a much stronger focus on really increasing the speed at which your list grows. Right? That's how you can think of it. It's not just about getting a few subscribers. Thinking, okay, the mailing list is such an important part of most businesses. We want to give you the technology to really make sure that your website is as effective as possible at building that mailing list.
Okay. So I heard you mention earlier conversions and optimization, and those are the things that really are prominent to help those business owners get the conversions to leads or visitors or sales. And how does a person implement Thrive Leads? Is this a WordPress based plugin? Does it work Windows, Mac, those kind of things?
Yeah. So you have to have a self-hosted WordPress installation. So not the WordPress.com version where you have a blog on their host. If you have a self-hosted WordPress, you can install this as a plugin, and it's very simple. You just upload it through the WordPress interface, and it will work in any web browser basically.
Okay, so any theme?
And any theme, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, so in terms of implementation, it's basically like any other WordPress plugin, right? You activate it and use it um, through your WordPress admin account. And so if you've done with a WordPress plugin, you'll be right at home with Thrive Leads as well.
Okay. And what about autoresponders and integration?
Yeah, so we basically it integrates with any autoresponder system that lets you generate an HTML form, and that's practically every single one.
Hmm.
So the idea is that you whatever system you're using, usually like you create a list inside your autoresponder, and then there's some way to say, okay, give me the sign up form that puts people on this list, and you just take the HTML code of that sign up form, you paste it in Thrive Leads, and that will then automatically make that connection between Thrive Leads and your autoresponder system. So we use this method because it's like, yeah, like I said, it's like so widely supported. There's no autoresponder system I know of that this doesn't work with.
All right, and you've probably already hit on a lot of this, but just for the sake of being specific,
Mm.
what are some of the things that Thrive Leads will do that other products out there, not your own, but other products don't do?
Well, I think one of the most important things is that we looked at if you actually look at other opt-in plugins, many of them will have A/B testing as one of their features, right? Many of them will let you run tests for conversion optimization, but testing is actually a lot more complicated than most people realize. And it's basically, there are two main mistakes that can happen that make testing really useless. One is that, and this is probably the most common one, is that you don't collect enough data. So if you start collecting test data, you will soon, you can paint a pretty graph that looks like a result. It looks like, okay, this variation is better than that one. But until you have enough data to actually verify that this is a real difference and not just a random variation, that result is completely useless. And that's one of the mistakes that can happen. The other mistake is that you have to be very careful about what you're actually measuring. Like what are you measuring to calculate that conversion rate? And it's very easy to get that wrong. So we spent a lot of time making sure that we're measuring the right things and collecting the right data to give you real results in the A/B testing. And that is one thing, I can tell you from all the research we've done and from how much time this took us, I can tell you that a lot of tools out there that have A/B testing features that were created by people who don't understand A/B testing, and that will not give you very good results. And the other thing is just the extent of things you can test, right? Where in Thrive Leads you can basically just test everything against everything. So it's not just, you can't just test design variations. You can also test completely different offers against each other with different follow-up sequences. You can test different triggers against each other. So you can say, I want to show a lightbox after 10 seconds, and you can test that against showing a lightbox on exit intent. So different triggers for the same thing. You can even test different types of forms against each other. So you can test a slide-in form against a lightbox. And none of this is possible in any of our competing plugins. So we have that. And the other thing is, as usual, we release a product and then we keep developing it. And we have a roadmap with a couple of interesting new features that we're going to add, where again, we're kind of looking at what are the cutting edge marketers doing differently, and what are they doing to grow their lists. And we're going to build in multi-step process, so you can have kind of like multiple choice forms that lead to opt-ins. And we're also going to give a way to show different content to people who have already subscribed than to people who haven't subscribed yet. So that then the idea becomes, someone new comes to your site and you show them the opt-in form. And once they opt in, if they return again, you can either just not show them anything, you can just hide it and have a cleaner website, or you can show them like the next step, right? Instead of showing them the opt-in form, you're showing them an ad where they can buy your product, right?
I see.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's something that's coming up in a few weeks. That also puts us quite far ahead of the competition. And then, as usual, basically listen to what our users need and want and keep developing the plugin as well.
Mhm. Now, is that the selective display?
Mm.
Is that based on a cookie or an IP address? How is that actually done?
That will be done by cookie, yeah. And we'll also have a way where you can like re-cookie visitors from your whenever you send an email, so you can
Hmm.
keep it up to date.
Okay. I was just looking through the sales material as you were
Hmm.
talking. Can you explain the cost? And I know you have some special pricing during the launch
Hmm.
period, and how long will that pricing be good for until there's an
Yeah.
increase?
Okay, so we have a launch period of 7 days, which ends on February 24th. And the prices are for a single license, for a single site license, it's $39. For a multiple site license, it's or like unlimited personal use, really, it's $67. And as an exception, we're also offering an agency license, which you can use with client websites for a one-time price of $127. And after this launch period, the prices will increase to 59.97 and 247 per year, respectively. So right now, just during this launch period, we have a price reduction for everyone.
Okay, and say a person buys either of these plans, and I see it's a year of support included.
Yep.
After the year, do they repurchase another year's worth of use
Yeah.
and support?
So yeah, so the actual license, you can use the plugin itself indefinitely, right? There's no limit on that. But if you need further support after 1 year, you can basically you can either buy another one of our products and that will give you an extension, or you can just buy a support upgrade for $40. That will get you another full year of
I
support.
see. Okay. All right. Now, when a person does purchase, are there any one-time offers, any upsells involved?
Yeah. The only other offer we have is just for our membership. And the way the membership works is, or the way Thrive Themes works is basically you can buy each one of our themes and plugins as an individual product, or you can become a member and pay a yearly or monthly price, which is like a flat rate where you just get everything, right?
Hmm.
So you get everything that we have right now, and everything that we release in the future, you just get at no extra price. So people who were already members, they just got Thrive Leads for free, at no extra price about a week ago. That's basically how the membership works. So whenever you make a purchase of a single product, you'll see an offer that says, "Hey, here's you can become a member. Here's a price reduction on the membership,"
Hmm.
and that's the only offer. We don't have like an endless funnel of sales. We just have that one.
Okay. All right. And in kind of wrapping up here, is there a tip you could provide our viewers? Maybe an example of a best practices for lead generation.
Well, I think one of the most important things um, is to get the ball rolling as quickly as possible, right? Like the worst thing you can do, or what I'm trying to say is it's a lot more valuable to do something simple right now than to try and do something perfect and it takes weeks. So my advice would be that you start with whatever you can publish today. That's what you start with, right? So if you just create a simple sign up form, maybe have a very simple offer that you can make people, sign up and get this for free. The simplest thing you can put together right now, create that, put it on your website, and start a very simple test, or maybe you just test a couple of headlines against each other
Hmm.
and start running that. Because again, this isn't going to produce spectacular results in most cases, but having something that you're starting today and that starts this test and starts increasing your conversions a bit, that's super valuable. And then while that's running, you can start thinking about, okay, how do I put together a more compelling offer? How do I do, or should I have multiple offers for different sections of my site and so on? But the mistake I think that most people are prone to making is that they will sit there and think about it for too long before actually doing something, right? And there's no value in just sitting there and thinking about something. So I think the most important thing you can do is pull the trigger as soon as possible. And in general, as an entrepreneur, I think it's one of the most valuable skills to have is just, or habits actually to have, is just to be in the habit of pulling the trigger quickly, right? Don't wait until you feel like you have the perfect idea or the perfect offer or until the perfect time arrives. Just be in the habit of just always pulling the trigger and always taking some kind of action that drives your business forward in a small way. So with lead generation, that's my number one tip as well. Like, do whatever you can do today and then think about how to improve it as you already have something published.